Hello, how's everybody doing? Who is up tonight? Just getting back from church. Let's resume our book club. I'm Dr. Melva, your board certified radiation oncologist. We'll see who joins us. When you're here or if you're catching me on the replay, hashtag replay. I am doing a book club on high performance habits. I'm reading this by Brendon Burchard. Again, I'm doing ultra reading sessions, so about 15 minutes a day when I can. So thank you so much for joining. I hope that you get value. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Last week, we went over the first, kind of talking about high performance habits, defining it, what it means. And this week, the section is strengths alone are never enough. So hope everybody had a wonderful day. We're just getting back from church. We're doing a Christ-centered parenting child while our kids are in Awanas. So lots to learn there. And I can't say that I can teach as much as someone in a Bible study, but let's do book club on high performance habits. So when you're here, let me know if you're getting value. Drop me an emoji. If you see value, like, comment, and smash that share. So let's get into it. So is everybody reading some type of literature? I know we're all busy, but high performance habits, this is what we're reading. So, all right. So my last notes, this section is strengths alone are never enough. All right. And let's go through, so I did a talk, I think, earlier this week, if you were able to catch it, on clarity. And he kind of talks in this section about clarity. So just as a reminder, for those of you who may not have seen it, clarity is knowing what you want and how you're going to go get it. And I love that part. Like, how are you going to go out and get it, right? So he talks about what you're naturally good at and what you must go beyond. So he says, regardless of what you are naturally good at, to rise higher, you must go beyond what came naturally to you at birth or in your teen years, right? And that's why the innate argument doesn't hold up so well, because a lot of people are like, oh gosh, she's born with it, he's born with it. But strengths alone aren't enough. So I really like that point. And then he talks about that to rise to high performance, you'll have to work on the weaknesses, develop entirely new skill sets beyond what you find easy or what you like to do. And it should be common sense. If you really want to make your mark, you'll have to grow more to give more, and that won't feel easy or natural. So I think a lot of us have experienced that already. But in the end, he talks about knowing your label or strengths and just trying more of that is like telling a bear that's trying to get honey out of a nest high on an unexplored cliff, just try being more of a bear. And I love that because let me know, hashtag in the comments, or if you're catching me on the replay, hashtag replay, if you've taken any of the personality tests. Like, have you done Myers-Briggs? What are the other ones he mentions? What are they? Oh, he had a list of them somewhere. But you know the personality test, right? We've all been doing this leadership thing for long enough. And you've probably taken some of them, IQ test, personality test, so you know what letters you are, if you're an INTJ or ESFP or, whatever you are. The point that he makes is that just knowing your label of strengths alone is not enough. So again, just trying to be more of a bear, telling a bear that's looking for honey, just try to be more of a bear, it's not really helpful. And we need things that are helpful and concrete to move forward, right? So he talks about instead of doing only strengths and personality assessments to categorize people, that Brendon Burchard is saying that we should instead focus on training our people in proven habits that anyone can use to up their performance. And I really like that because I think about some of the strengths that I have, and when I'm working with different clients or patients, even for that matter, if they don't have the same innate abilities and strengths that I have, it doesn't mean that they can't achieve success. So I like this concept that we can learn proven habits or meta habits, as he says, that anyone can use to up their performance. So again, if you're just joining me, welcome. We're going over high performance habits with Brendon Burchard. I've just been doing 15-minute quick reading sessions to get my brain going, and just want to share some of my takeaways, and I hope it's helpful for you. So chime in. Thanks for watching. All right. So this session, and this came up, again, I was in parent Christ-centered parenting Bible study we're doing at church now while the kids are in Awanas. And this same word came up, and it comes up like all the time, especially when we're talking about high performance or success, and that's consistency. So he says the good news is no one innately lacks any of the high performance habits. So that's good. And high performers are not lucky that they get this great big bag of strengths at birth. They simply deploy the habits we've discussed, and they do it more consistently than their peers. And that's the difference. And then he has in italics, that's the difference. So I stopped there because I was like, gosh, being consistent in anything is probably one of the most difficult challenges ever. But as he talks about it, when you're working to go past your innate strengths, that takes consistent work and effort. We're not just trying to be more than a bear. So then let's see. All right. So the other point I got here was, he talks about if you ever wonder why you're failing at something, just go take, and he has this habit test that he wants you to take, and identify which habits you're scoring low in, and then improve that area and you'll be back on track. So when I read that, and he's talking about revolutionize your performance, it was kind of like, if you ever wonder why you're failing, like how often does that happen to us where we're doing something, we're like, oh my gosh, like why isn't this working? And you evaluate it. But he's saying instead of just wondering why you're failing, actually stop and look and see what the reason that you're failing is, like which habit. And he goes through 6 different habits, which I think I mentioned before, are you failing at? So the name of the book and the author. Yeah, I can add that. So the name of the book is High Performance Habits. I don't know if you want to type it in the comments, or I can type it after, by Brendon Burchard. High Performance Habits by Brendon Burchard. And I'm on page 42. If anybody has the book with them. So, all right. So then he talks about, so again, we're talking about deliberate focus. Thank you for that. We're talking about deliberate focus and the fact that you can focus on which habit that you need to improve to get success. All right. And then the other thing that stood out for me in this section was, I love this one. Okay. So this one is what we do. Welcome. Thanks for joining. What we do with what we have tends to be far more important than what we have in the first place. And when I see that one, and then he continues to say, what you're innately good at is less important than how you choose to see the world, develop yourself, lead others, and remain persistent through difficulty. And that part excited me because think about it. It's like money. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It's what you do with it. And you always hear these success stories about people who, worked a job where they didn't make as much as someone else, but in the end, they ended up with more money because it was what they did with it, how they invested, how they saved, and what they made with it. So that's the first thing that went to my mind. But I love that. Again, what we do with what we have tends to be far more important than what we have in the first place. And I like that. And so if we're thinking about that in terms of habits and skills, it's really important for this. 1, he talks about consistency, and 2, understanding your habits and what leads you to success versus the question of wondering why you're failing. You're looking for performance measures that you can accurately measure to improve that. So thanks for joining. If you're just joining, we're talking about high performance habits. All right. So the next thing he goes on to talk about, and the notes that I did, is that you have control over your performance habits. And I think that's refreshing because there are a lot of things that we don't have control over. And when you think about success and you think about going to that next level, whether it's in your career, your entrepreneurial journey, in your employed job, you don't have control over a lot of things, but you do have control on your habits and your performance habits and how you control. Thank you so much for typing the book. I gotta figure out how to pin it to the top. Okay. I'll have to figure it out later. Thanks for doing that, Dawn. So then he lists like this whole section, and I love this, and I don't even know if I should read it all, but it's all the excuses that we tell ourselves, right? And it's super easy to do this. Okay, so let me know if you've ever said anything like this. So just think how often you hear things such as, I just don't have the personality to get ahead. I'm just not extroverted, intuitive, charismatic, open, conscientious. Have you heard that? Or have you said that yourself? Right. I'm just not the smartest person in the room. I'm just not naturally gifted like they are. I wasn't born good at that. I don't have the right mix of strengths. I'm not a right-brained person. I don't have enough experience. I'm a woman, black man, Latino, middle-aged white guy, immigrant, and that's why I'm not succeeding. My company culture doesn't support me. I'd be a lot better if they paid me what I'm really worth. And as he goes through that, and I don't even know if he uses the word excuses, he talks about what people use to explain their poor performance. And the way I read that is those are excuses, right? Because that's an easy, quick fix to say why you can't do something or comparing yourself to someone else. But in the end of the day, for me, he's talking about excuses that we tell ourselves and we tell other people. And on top of that, it's almost ingrained because you get so used to just saying it. Like, oh yeah, she does that because she has a lot of time, or oh, she's been doing this for years, or oh, she doesn't have to work, or the other ones he listed there. So I resonated with that because it's easy to look at other people who have success and come up with a million reasons in your mind why they're successful and you're not, versus saying what are the habits that they are consistently working to improve that got them to that position. Do some people have advantages over other people? Sure. Like, let's be honest, of course they do. But is that it? No. And I think that's hopeful to say that if you're working, especially to be a high achiever, and to improve your level, to elevate your life and your success, that with consistent effort, focusing on these habits, the argument is that you can do that. So, he does use the word excuses. So later in the book, it's been a minute since I read the section, but the author says, it's time we all recognize these reasons for what they are. Lame excuses for suboptimal performance, especially over the long time. And this is not to say intrinsic factors don't matter at all. And he talks about there's strong evidence that's important, especially in childhood development, influencing your mood, behavior, choices, health, and relationships as an adult. But at the end of the day, those are excuses. So then he talks about, he goes into meta habits, and let's see how much more will we go into this. Just a couple of this. Let me know if this is helpful. Again, if you're catching me on the replay, #replay, like, comment, share. Let me know what you think about this. If you have read this book already, again, High Performance Habits, and what your takeaways are, and if this is helpful or not. So a rising tide lifts all boats, one habit lifts all others. So you've heard that phrase, and he just talks about the meta habits, basically things we can work on that improve us. So then he gets down to this part, and this will probably be the last point that I make. So let me see what else I wanted to say. Performance measures. Okay, so this is the last one, and the question I wrote in the side is, can you predict happiness? So he said another fascinating thing that they learned at looking at these 6 meta habits for success is that they all predict overall happiness, meaning the higher you score in any habit, the greater the odds you'll report being happy in life. And taken together, these 6 factors that he's done is a powerful predictor of not just whether you're a high performer, but also whether you'll be happy. Hey, welcome. Thanks for joining. We're going over High Performance Habits by Brendon and Burchard. Just a quick book club. So I like that question of, can you predict your happiness? And one, I believe personally that you choose to be happy, and circumstances don't have to be perfect in your life, but you can make a choice that you will be happy. And once you make that decision and you decide, happiness follows. And he's also saying by consistently working on your habits and these high performance habits, that it will predict your overall happiness. So he talks about people often asking whether there's a specific state that will enable them to succeed over the long term. And by definition, emotional and mental states don't endure. He says they're fleeting, and moods stick around longer. Habits hold the longest, which is why we focus on those. So he really is getting toward, when we talk, sorry, I was interrupted there. He's really getting toward, when we talk about happiness, is how will I feel when I've hit high performance? And what does it feel like, so I can reverse engineer that? And he really talks about the data, and he looked at when people talk about how they feel in high performance, they report feeling full engagement, joy, and confidence in that order. So again, high performance habits, being consistent in your habits, they report being fully engaged, having joy, and confidence in that order. So that means that they tend to be fully immersed in what they are doing. They enjoy what they're doing, and they have confidence in their ability to figure things out. So I think that's a great point to end on tonight. I hope that you got value for this. Again, if you're just joining me, I'm Dr. Melva, your board certified radiation oncologist, and I help breast cancer patients live their most vibrant, healthiest lives post-cancer treatment. I do that through online coaching program. You can follow me over at facebook.com/doctormelva, doctormelva, if you know someone that can benefit from that coaching. And I'm also an entrepreneur, busy working mom, and I'm focusing my reading right now on high performance habits. I challenge each of you to find a book that you're reading, whether you join me in reading this one or you catch another book. But I actually like the hardback books. I have my little bookshelf over here, and that's honestly like not even half of the books that I own. They're all like hiding over there in the closet, just because otherwise my whole room would be overtaken by books. But I challenge you to take at least 15 minutes a day and read. It is so good for your mind, your body, and your spirit. And we get so used to our phones and 2-minute articles, and I think there's a power in reading books. So it's been a long day, but I hope you got value from this, and I hope that you're working on your high performance habits. I hope that you find happiness. I hope that you drop all your excuses. Let me know your takeaways. Drop them in the hashtags, like, comment, smash the share if you got value. Until next time, I'm Dr. Melva, and I'll see you guys later. Thanks for joining. Bye.